Look at that booty. Yeah?
So fucking annoyed, like.
Right, look, only 10% of you are subscribed. Want to show you a few clips there of what to expect in this video. Please hang tight, sit tight, and grab a cup of tea or a pint and see what the crack is. Right. I uploaded. It was just 4 or 5 weeks worth of random work and random clips. So I just want to give you a quick update on where we are today. I would like to get majority of the filler work for the body done this weekend. So it's Saturday about 1 o'clock. So we've got most of the rear quarters now blended in. This has been the bane of my life, and what you can see, this red stuff, that's a 1-pack glaze, so it's like a cellulose filler. The doors have been more or less finished now and blocked, so I'm going to take them, paint them off the cars and get the shuts done. And this is the wing. I think you can see it in an earlier video. This has been filled with 2K, painted with 2K filler primer, and it's been sort of lightly sanded. And I'm trying to tidy up the edges a wee bit as well. If you remember, it's quite rusty here, so we used some fiberglass filler and treated it. So in the last video, we've seen painted that. Look how dusty it is now. That's how long it's been. Also want to test fit the side skirts again today, or this weekend, maybe tidy it up. I'm gonna get the side skirt fitted as well on the other side. So this is the last skin I put in this. This one's almost done as well. Won't be hopefully much longer left. So we'll get that shaped and then put on the glaze on this side as well. My girlfriend was up at the shed. She made me another to-do list. So you can see we've got blend rear quarters. So that's what I'm going to work on primarily today. Try to get that finished off. Remove the doors as well and do the filler work on passenger side. And fit the side skirt on the passenger side. So yeah, just want to give you an update. Sanding is super boring, so I might not show you all the sanding, but I will come up back to you regularly with some updates on how we're getting on. Cheers. So I did say I would give you regular updates, and this is how we're looking now. So I'm quite happy with this rear quarter. One of my neighbours, absolute gentleman, gave me a bit of primer because I ran out of paint, and I was asking him what he thought of it. So, but yeah, this actually looks pretty good. I'm quite happy with it. It's a bit high here. But obviously, you know, we'll be using that 2K filler primer and then blocking it back. So this side here is mostly blended in now with no issues at all. So I'm quite happy with how this is looking. The rear bumper, I've also started blanking these, and it looks quite well. I filled in the holes here and here, and this is also blanked. I used a blowtorch on the back of us to melt the plastic, and then so that gives us something for the filler to stick to. In terms of over here, well, it's looking pretty good. A few more coats and this will be done. Overall, it's just like a wee do for you. So I'm going to set up a wee time lapse there just so you guys can see what I'm doing, and I know it's not that interesting, so feel free to skip. And cheers, bye.
Well, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. First of all, I just want to say I can't believe we're at 128 subs. It's actually unreal. Thanks for following and subscribing. I still have no idea what I'm doing. This is going to be a multi-part video for paint prep. I don't want it to be too boring, but also want to include substance for anyone in a similar situation as myself. It's going to be hard to find a line between entertainment, relatable, and realistic whilst being honest and amateur, but hopefully in time I will begin to know my own style. I also want to take this time to remind you to subscribe and hit that bell if you enjoy the content, and please consider checking out my friend Jason at JRM Fabrications. He has all the skill that I badly need, and he'll scratch that itch if you want to watch a professional. Now, in terms of what I've just done, I've just wiped down the panel with panel wipe, and I've started to use that U-Paul Fantastic filler, which is a lot better than the Easy Sand one that I was using before. Once we've got that slobbed on, I'm going to go over and start spraying some filler paint, well, filler primer and an aerosol paint onto the rear bumper, and we're also going to check how we're looking in terms of the shape as well. So that's just a brief overview of what we're at.
Today's Friday, I've just finished work, so I'm going back home on Monday for a week, and we're currently up to date now with all the video, all the record, all the work. So I am planning on putting majority of the shell in 2K primer before I go home. So I would like to get most of the body work done this weekend, and I want the car in primer. So then whenever I'm back home over the week, if it's going to shrink anywhere, then we'll be able to see that by the time we get back. Okay, so that's the plan. And I'll just give you a wee sneak peek now. It's test fitting the skirts again, just because I got really excited. Door's done, and you can see the quarter Not too sure about the shape, but it kind of reminds me a wee bit of like a Triumph. I'll see if I can get something to show you the reference I'm on about. But yeah, I just want to show you the big reveal.
Yeah, that's the most the car's been together in a long time. It looks awesome. I was over the moon. I couldn't believe it. Look at that booty. Yeah, quite symmetrical as well. And it was just really nice to remind myself what it looked like before I started taking apart and reading everything. And now I got a fair idea. So here I'm talking about the fitting and the size around the headlights or tail lights, and the same on the other side as well. And overall, I was just over the moon. I was pointing out any minor imperfection, but the whole idea of putting it back together was try to block out those imperfections and think about the greater picture. And to be honest with you, it really worked. It really helped my morale for this whole project.
Also, now I know I'm going to need spacers or something like that for the wheel, or just wider wheels in general. But like overall, like I am pretty hyped about this. Um, so if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen me posting a wee reel or a story saying about me falling in love with this car again, because I got really caught up, and this is probably a tip for anyone sort of doing this work for themselves. But I got really caught up in the minor details and the minor imperfections, and then once I stuck the bumpers and the lights and everything in, I kind of remembered that there is a bigger picture at play here, and it's not just about those minor things that realistically nobody's probably going to notice whenever the car's painted anyway. So yeah, pretty happy with the build. More or less perfect. Here we've got some more shaping to do. We'd like to try to blend this flush that down a bit more, try to get rid of that hard line. Up here's fine. Probably make the edge a bit better. Here I want to work on this blend, and I also want to get any holes filled. And then this side here as well, trying to make that a bit more smoother. And then down here is done. So, but yeah, also probably put some tiger seal around the inside of this lip here for the petrol fuel cap. Just get some tiger seal in around here and stuff. And also fill this in, sand that down as well. Up here is done, more or less. Happy about that. Sorted. And then this side here, once again, sorted. Maybe just have one last look at how it blends in there and see whether or not we need to change it at all. But overall, I think we are more or less ready.
So yeah, at this stage, not gonna lie, I'm feeling pretty confident. I think that looks sweet. But here, bear in mind, I don't have any money for a new bumper or a wing. But here, my labor of love is free, and I got a lot of time at the moment. I feel like I'm constantly putting stuff back together to take it off again. And look, I've got no idea where 95% of the hardware is, i.e., the nuts and bolts, so the things that you need to put the whole car back together. Because at this rate, this car is going to be held together with hopes and dreams. Do you know what I mean? And that's if the paint doesn't just fall off whenever it's all done. But here, look, we'll cross that fridge whenever you come to it because it's all water under a fridge, isn't it? So what I'm doing is I'm trying to smooth out these OEM lines, wee bit of 180, wee bit of 320, trying to get it looking, ship shape, as I would say. And you can see here, you see that expression on my face? Yeah, that's me wondering, what the hell have I got myself into? What am I actually doing here? Is there any chance I can do a good job at this? Who knows? Now, remember, anytime you're painting, always use light thin coats, or if you're me, just whack it on. See what happens with that aerosol.
Hey guys, I've got a bit distracted here, so you can see this wing here. All this was treated, sanded down, treated. That was actually quite rusty, and sanded down, treated, and then coated in like a hammerite, direct to metal paint, like enamel paint, and obviously it hasn't done its job. That was 9 months ago. Car sat inside ever since, more or less. So I don't know how the rust came back that quickly. So I'm just going to grind these down, and I'm going to brush on epoxy primer on the inside. So I'm just going to grind off all the rust, brush on epoxy primer. Hopefully that means the wings will be good for another 5 years, maybe. Who knows? We'll see. I'm going to close the doors and do this because I don't want to be too loud. It's just because the metal's so thin, it's tinny, that the noise is vibrating and stuff. And because it's summer, everyone has their windows open, so get a few more complaints. So we need to be quiet. But yeah, I'll bring it inside and do it. I just built epoxy box cracker hardener everywhere because it wasn't closed properly. So that was pretty fun. And now I'm probably going to spill a big one everywhere. Way too even off. Jeez. Thought this stuff wasn't supposed to dry fair harder. Right. There we go. Oh, this is super thick. I don't know what I'm going to use this stir vat. It's so separated. Joys, eh? I'm actually surprised at how much of this I've used. I'm going to have a look here. See if I can find my mixing stick. Nah. No idea where it is. If you don't know what my mixing stick is, it's part of the caulking gun that I use. I just put it on the end of a drill. This stuff. So separated. Look at that. Look at that. How am I supposed to mix that by hand? Is it concrete? Really wet concrete. Oh no. No, that's still nothing. It's probably raining now. I don't know why, since it's rained, it's been the warmest days of my life recently. It's always been like that, to be fair. It's always been like proper solids on the bottom. I just sand it. Yeah, just sand it. Don't use any thinner. Probably. Don't really want to. I can't really think of anything better to do. The only thing I can think of is if I can somehow manage to bend this. I'll try that. Yo. Off camera, I just almost got a box of camera off my camera. So. Yeah. Oh, give this a go. Yeah.
Look, I am well aware that you can get a specific tailor-made tool for this, right? But if you're in a garage, it's raining outside, you're on a budget, you don't have money, you have to do what you have to do. We need to get this gummy ass forbidden looking ice cream paint back to a nice milkshake consistency. And this is the right tool for it, although it will probably kill the bearings in the drill, assuming there are bearings. But yeah, let's see if it works.
Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, it's a lot thicker now. So it is. There's still some of that tar at the bottom, but I really don't think we're going to get that out without some serious witchcraft stuff going on. So this paint is a 3-to-1. So we'll just doopy doop. Put in, I don't know, or 150. We'll try to. There we go, 150. Just so you can see another line, 150.
Yo, be impressed. That is 150.
And then we'll put in our 50 of box of hardener that's spilled all over side skirt 5 minutes ago, which is not fun. There you go. 50. And then we drop more. And we'll get this mixed. Okay. That's our mixed. And then where's our dirty brush? It's the only brush I have, so hopefully I haven't lost it. Ah! I've lost my brush. So I think I have anywhere. I lost the detailing brush, but I found a real brush. And it is very hard.
Nice.
But we're not doing this for looks, are we? We're doing this for rust protection. So all we need is good coverage. Right. Okay. Oh. So for those of you who don't know what epoxy primer is, it's basically a two-part resin type polymer paint. It forms a waterproof and durable barrier between metal and paint, and well, any substrate, whatever, depends on what you're using. So you can see we're using here as a top coat, however normally it would be used as a primer, and this should help keep the converted rust again from activating for a number of years, as opposed to the aerosol hammerite that we know did sweet FA. I'm actually a massive fan of epoxy, and there's epoxy underneath the fiberglass wings, for those of you that don't know, and any welding that I've done as well has also been covered in epoxy primer. So that should hopefully help any of the metal work I've done this car so far last for a good number of years. Fingers crossed, here's hoping. If there's underseal and there's no rust underneath it, that's bubbled, I'm just plastering it on, because in a situation like this, the more the merrier, I believe, personally. Once it's cured, it'll be proper hard, and it's, well, it's never really going to go off, and rust here will never be an issue again. So we'll just make sure we get all the wee bits that we want to get. Too thick here. This stuff as well, once the stuff dries, it is tough. It's like surviving apocalypse tough. Now, there's a few wee other bits I want to do around the car while I've got this paint out. So, go and do that now. Cheers. Alright guys, happy Saturday. Just having a wee cup of coffee and looking at the side skirts. So, put the camera down here. Can you see? You can see. So, fitment on these is awful. Partially my fault, because I bought them unfinished for 80 quid. Never went down to collect the pretenders. So that's pretty cool. I've already taken off a few imperfections to try to get the fit a bit better. The good thing with fiberglass is at least it sands quite easily. So I've got this side here at this stage. Quite happy with. This is one of those jobs that would be a lot easier with two people. I might take a bit off his edge just to get that to get a bit flusher here. And also, I've taken a bit down here to try to get that a bit flusher, but it hasn't really worked. So I might take off a bit more. I can always put a bit of masking tape in behind, build it up with fiberglass filler as well. So. Just being careful not to go too far. There's a sand in there. Right guys, I'm going to call it there. It's close enough. So I'm just going to give everything a wipe down with panel wipe and get it masked up. So we have, you know, obviously this job would be a lot easier with two people, but we don't have that luxury, unfortunately. And I know, some of you guys would love to come help me, but in real life, no one actually does, so. Everyone's too busy.
Probably not. Oh man, my knees. I wish this was on axle stands, but I don't have a jack at the moment because I had it to a friend. So I'm gonna put it sort of like partially on, and then whenever it's in place, I'll start whacking them up. I think that's the plan. This is free masking tape from Lidl, which is pretty sick. It's a lovely day today, which is quite surprising. A bit more cooler than the heat wave we sort of having. Not really too sure why. That's going to feel a bit better. But once we get them on, we get them sort of. We talk about this like I've done it before, you know, I didn't it? But I think once we get this on, we should be able to sort of shape it using fiberglass filler and stuff like that. Make any of the gaps, you know, disappear really. Yeah, we can see. So I had to take quite a lot out of that. This is just a gap. There's nothing really I can do about this. It's going to be built up. See on the other side as well. Gap here. It's going to be built up, and then this is going to be built up. Maybe sanded in a wee bit actually. So we'll figure out what drill bit we need, and then we'll drill holes and get a riv nuts in. So that's the plan. Sweet. So a riv nut is a threaded insert that is installed similar to a rivet. Basically, you place a riv nut in a hole and squeeze a special tool that crushes it into the body or workpiece. If you want that thread, you can get that thread, baby. They're absolutely amazing for automotive work, and I heavily recommend them. The ones I'm using, I got about 50 on Amazon for £7, and they're also aluminium. So I was looking at this door and I was thinking, oh, happy days versus a single dent. And then I went way back here and looked in my wee seat, and I could see a little wee dent. And if we come up closer, it is here. Apart from that, this is all wavy. But I think that whenever we put on our free coats of 2K high build, I think of blocking up sort of the waviness. So I'm going to tackle this wee dent here and get it smoothed out, and then we'll move on to removing the doors. So that's the plan. Sneaky, sneaky. So what I'm using here is a Milwaukee Polisher M12 with a special Rulock attachment, which is for paint removal. It's sort of like a ceramic kind of coated sponge kind of material. And then once that's done, I'm going to move on to a DA, and that's to sort of widen the scratched up, keyed up surface as well. And I think I've got about 80 on the DA just to get it down to bare metal for the filler application. Right, set that flash off. Or should we knock it up? Yeah, that's the correct way. And then, yeah, that was pretty easy. Okay, I should just, yeah. Alright, cool. Now, the actual door itself, what are we thinking? Probably shouldn't have done that way. That is a crush washer. Probably for just. Right, that's her dropped completely. I think so. I should technically be able to just eat this
Oh no, my god. Okay. What is that? Oh, I need to remember to lift my back or my knees. It's one heavy bastard. Remember to always lift with your knees. Am I worried about the glass? Kind of, because I don't want to smash, because I don't really want to clean it up. Am I worried about the glass? Not really, no, because it's got well numbers. There's one door successfully removed. Oh yeah. Joys.
Okay, so now I'm using my homemade sanding block with some Abernet 180 grit to knock back the filler, try to get it back in the contour of the door. Once that's done, I'm probably going to use a DA again, probably with about 240 or 320 grit. Try to get back up to sort of that keying that we need for the high build primer on the door whenever we get to it. The reason why I'm so fussy about the doors at this stage is because I feel like it's going to be a lot easier to prep them for paint and do some sort of light body work before they're removed, because once they're removed there won't be anything holding them in place effectively apart from the weight. These doors are like 25, 30 or 40 kilo, and they're very heavy.
Right guys, how's it going? So that's that door now off. Happy days. Sound. So that brings us to this Jack's to-do list. If you like, let me know in the comments if you know who that's supposed to be. My girlfriend drew this for me, and we have now done this. We have now done this. We've sort of done that. So it's like a X as we got the door ready, and we've now fitted this pair of doors wings. That's probably going to be next week, but there's only one wing left to do. So one wing, very passenger side. So we're looking good, and we are making some good progress. Sweet. I also found out you can message yourself in Messenger. So I've been messaging myself in Messenger so I remember what I want to do, because I have a bad attention span, so practice makes perfect. Now, in terms of what I'm going to do now, I am going to start sanding this shell and then probably push it out and start doing some cleaning. So, yeah, it's got bits, bobs everywhere. The doors right at the back. So, see them. 320 grit, rubber block, well, foam block. Let's get sanding.
So yeah, I'm not going to bore you with the specifics, but basically for any paint job, prep is king, and sanding is part of prep. And I swear to God, man, I've been sanding for like 5 months at this stage, and I was just so fed up. I even sort of made a rap about it that was a YouTube short if you want to check that out. But yeah, it doesn't really matter, you know. It's basically like if you want to get the primer, you do your 120 grit, your 180 grit, your 240 grit, your 320 grit. Then you get the primer. Then after primer, you do your 320 grit, your 400 grit, and then your 600 grit, and then your 800 grit. And then you do your base, and you do your clear. And then after your clear,
You do your 1000 grit, your 1200 grit, your 1500 grit, your 3000 grit. If you want to, you can even go up to 5000 grit. It's just sanding, 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 and I can't wait to never have to sand again. So, apologies about my sanding rant, but now what I'm doing is I have masked up the side of quarter panel and I'm putting tiger seal in around the edge, the lip. The reason why I'm doing this is because tiger seal is a single polyurethane sealant, and what I'm trying to do is waterproof the inside of the wing, just to stop any water from getting in there in the future. Not really for rust, but more for cracking any sort of filler, stuff like that. So it's just an additional step of protection there for the inside of the wing. Apart from that as well, tiger seal, you can't really sand it. You can use thinners to sort of make it look prettier. This is inside a petrol fuel cap. I'm not really that bothered about how it looks because you'll never really see it, especially if the fuel cap closed. So that's just an extra precaution to make sure it all looks nicey nice. Why, hello there.
It's not even that close.
Yeah. So the reason why we're squirting the floor down with water is to try to stop the dust from rising whenever we're painting the car and walking around it. So I've got Andrea here is helping me today, and she's done the majority of this floor while I've sort of been trying to tidy up everything else. If you look at the cars outside at the moment, and we're going to finish sorting out the masking and trying to make sure that we have the shuts and everything covered and for the interior as well, and probably a bit of last minute filler work and making sure all the gaps are ready for paint. So next time you see us, hopefully we'll be putting primer on the car. Cheers. We're looking good, so we had the car outside and then unfortunately it started raining. We are 95% of the way there. At this stage I'm just thinking, get the primer down, screw it, we'll see how it looks like after. So at the moment we're just doing some masking. Took off a bit at the top because I was worried about the dust getting blown around the room. And then we've got a couple of places with a wee bit of filler work left to do, and then we should be good to paint. So I'll get a wee time lapse set up and you can enjoy some masking shots.
I'm allowed to talk because I'm music in this.
Talk if you want. It's up to you, whether else want me out or out. Alright guys, as you can see, we've got the car up in jack stand with the wheels off, trying to prevent any unnecessary overspray, so we can get in closer as well. And we've got the car all masked up now, from like the wing onwards. Probably are going to get a wee bit of overspray in the bonnet, but it's so dusty that hopefully nothing settles and wrecks the paint that exists there because it's covered in dust anyway. So I'm currently just going over the car with some panel wipe and then I'm going to start mixing together the primer. I need to check what gun we're using and the needle size as well. So cleanliness is key, and obviously being in this shed we're not going to be that clean. So I'll probably wet the floor again just before we do the final coat. And I am rushing this a wee bit because, like I said, all this to be done before I go home for a week. But you can put filler on top of 2K high build, so if there's any areas we'll miss, we'll be able to sort that whenever we're guy coating and blocking the paint. So it should be okay. Right. Let's start mixing the paint. So just checking out the TDS for this paint on my phone, and it is 4-part primer, 1-part activator, up to 5% fast UK thinner. Right, so I put this into a smaller cup just to make it easier to pour into the sieve. These sieves you get like 100 on eBay for $7.99. The wee plastic cups you get 100 for about £8 as well, to be fair. So kind of reminds me of 3D printing, resin printing. Primer hardener up to 500. Just spilled that everywhere. And we use 5%. It's 5% of 25. Okay. So, last time I was painting, I spilled paint everywhere. I was really rather this just went well for once. It's really heavy to mix with. It's getting less good at the bottom. Alright. Look all liquids. Okay. Let's hope I don't mess this up this time. So this goes in here, like so. I believe that goes on top of that. Then this is how I messed up last time, so I didn't have that. Have this screwed in properly. I still don't understand how this works. Yeah, that should be fine. Actually.
Panic. Idiot.
So fucking annoyed, like.
I'm raging. I knew that paint was going to spill. I knew it. And guess what? It spilled. I'm not happy. As much as I would love to stop and have a wee bit of a mental breakdown, this paint isn't going to wait for anyone. It needs to be sprayed on the car. You can see the issues I have here with the masking popping out. That's because it wasn't tight enough. I used it before with a 1.4 nozzle and it clogged the gun almost immediately. So this is with a 1.7mm nozzle. And yeah, guess what?
it's still clogged. So although it looks right in this video, like I'm zipping around the car, I've actually cut out most of it because, you know, timing is important. But because I want to be honest with you as well, I'm going to let you know that I had issues, right? The compressor was overheating, the gun was clogging, the paint was going off, and I occasionally had to add in additional thinners to the paint and mixes as I was going along. Now, overall, it looks good. You can see that the spray pattern was sort of going in and out, and that just depended on the viscosity of the paint as I was painting. But there is a bit of tiger striping, however, I knew it was going to be all getting blocked down anyway, so I just wanted to get paint on this car before I headed home for a week. All in all, would I call it a success? Yeah, I think it's a success. But I've been foreshadowing this paint spilling ever since the beginning of this video, and guess what? It spilled. So, what a melt. I don't know if we have on camera, but you've probably seen the absolute disaster of the the cup system just leaking on me whenever it was secure. And then we also had the paint going off while still in the gun, while still spraying. And then we had the compressor overheating. And then we also had the neighbour who put in a noise complaint back as well, which made me anxious about making too much noise. But 2K's on, so it's looking alright. Not 3 whole coats, I say it's probably 2 coats. I laid it on really fast because paint was going off. I just need to mix as it goes. But we can see like that's pretty good. You can't really see any blemishes. Just a couple of runs there because whenever the paint was going off, it was coming out really dry. The arch looks great. You can see a couple of scratches, but overall pretty good coverage. Once again in here as well, you can see that'll be covered. Pretty good coverage, so pretty happy. Then at the ends here, looking pretty good. Pretty happy with that myself. Same on the back, pretty happy with that. And over here as well, pretty happy with that. Most of it's blended in quite well. Still a bit of filler work to do, the sanding to do, but overall, pretty happy with how it's looking, and can kind of start to see the car coming together a wee bit. Now this will be covered by a trim, so I'm not that fussed on it. I'm not seeking perfection. Over here, pretty sound. So overall, I'm very happy. I think what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to block this with 180. Might not see me for a week, but I'll see you whenever I can upload this. Probably won't be for a while, but now that that's been done, I think I'm going to block with 180 and do it again with high build, and this time mix it a coat at a time. So, but overall, yeah, buzzing. Sweet, see ya.